So, unfortunately, it's an unregulated industry in Australia, and a company only needs to put between 3 and 51% of the plant in the bottle to label it 100% pure. So, the majority of oils that are on the market, the reason why they're cheaper is that they're adulterated with synthetics, chemicals, all sorts of different substances that make them filled out, and that's why they're cheaper. So not safe to use. So only use certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils.
Hello, humans and puggies. Welcome to the Pug Life Show, brought to you by Pug Parties, because your pug deserves to be the best dressed at the party. And you can check out their outfits at pugparties.com. I'm your host, Donna, and with me are my puggy co-hosts, Rosie and Kenji. Our episode today is one that I've wanted to do for some time now because I know so little about essential oils, but I love having them in my life. I love burning scented candles in my office and my home. I love a relaxing bath with some relaxing salts and an occasional visit from Rosie and Kenji checking up on me to make sure I haven't forgotten them or dinner time. And I love running my diffuser when I don't have a candle. Now, the challenge is that I know enough about essential oils to know that some are not good for our furry friends, but not enough to know what is good, what is bad, and what combination is best for me and the puggies. So you can see why I asked Libby to join me on the show to dispel the myth, provide the fact, and even give me a little advice about that little thing called anxiety, which we all know Kenji suffers from. But before we zoom in and go on an essential oil safari, I want to remind you to subscribe to our newsletter in the show notes so you get advance notice of our next episode and much, much more. Good afternoon, Libby. Thank you so much for coming on the Pug Life Show to talk about essential oils for pugs or pets in general, but of course we're always focused on pugs. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Donna. I'm feeling really privileged to be here to chat to you today. I'm excited.
Oh, thank you. It's, as I was mentioning before we hit record, it's one of the things that's actually quite close to my heart. I've always had these questions about essential oils. I do use them. I do have diffusers or I do have candles. And there are times when I think to myself, am I burning the right stuff for my pugs, or am I know tea tree oil is not meant to be good for dogs. So that's something that I learned by accident as opposed to like specifically looking for it. And so that's where from that point on, I was like, what else am I putting into the atmosphere within my home that may actually potentially be doing more harm than good?
Exactly.
Mm. So, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself and your fur family, because I actually forgot to ask. I assumed your love of pet aromatherapy meant that you had pets.
I do. So I actually have worked for the past decade as holistic healer, so mentoring, teaching people. And I've been surrounded by animals my whole entire life. So everything from cats and dogs and horses to lizards, snakes, and birds. So animal healing, animal communication are things that I'm passionate about as well. And I'm actually one of only a few certified animal aromatherapy specialists in Australia. Um,
Wow.
so that's exciting. But currently, my daughter actually offers equine assisted learning. So together we have currently 4 horses, 4 cats, 3 dogs, and 2 baby sheep.
That's That's not technically a fur family. That's a menagerie.
Yeah,
That's a farm, mini farm.
it's an addiction, is what it is.
Well, up until yesterday, I had 4 pugs, my 2, Rosie and Kenji, and then I also had two rescues that we'd been fostering for a fair bit of time, but they got to go to their forever family yesterday, which was really nice, but also
Wonderful.
really sad. Like, you forget, like, after having, I can imagine, was it 3 cats and 3 dogs in the house?
4 cats,
Oh,
4
4
dogs in
cats.
the
Oh,
house. Yes, and the sheep actually, I hate to admit, have been in the house quite a lot, nappies on. Yeah, so
oh my god. I thought it was bad enough waking up and trying to find available space on the floor to put my feet down around 4 pugs. I couldn't imagine that many. That's insane.
it is a bit insane, and but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
You you can't say no. That's probably the
That's the problem. I can't say
yes.
no to the animals or my daughter.
She's lucky to have you if you're willing to let her do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, so amazingly big menagerie family.
Mhm.
So obviously that was what inspired you to get into the use of essential oils?
Yeah, so, over a decade ago, I was teaching a lot with natural healing, and oils came into my life more so for the emotional uses and doTERRA specifically. And I just really got addicted to living a low tox lifestyle and using the oils as an answer to any kind of first aid things or personal health issues that kind of popped up. And then the more I started using them, I think, pets are my family. So I just naturally started researching a bit about that. And then, when things came up, I just started using the oils rather than, heading straight to the vet or that type of thing. And I just became passionate about it. So, yeah, that's sort of where it started.
Awesome. Lucky puppies. That's all I
Mhm.
can say. Um, so we'll get started with the don'ts. Maybe that's the better way to put it. So
Yep.
what are the oils that we shouldn't have around our pets?
Okay. So the first thing I want to mention to people is what's super important is to not use store-bought essential oils. So things like the ones that you get from the chemist or marketplace or Amazon, because you don't actually know really what you're getting. So unfortunately, it's an unregulated industry in Australia, and a company only needs to put between 3 and 51% of the plant in the bottle to label it 100% pure. So, the majority of oils that are on the market, the reason why they're cheaper is that they're adulterated with synthetics, chemicals, all sorts of different substances that make them filled out, and that's why they're cheaper. So, not safe to use. So, only use certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. That's the main thing. And you did mention about tea tree. Now, tea tree is an oil that comes to mind. It has a really bad rap, but it really comes down to number one, the brand of tea tree and the way that you use it. So
Mhm.
I actually diffuse tea tree like 1 or 2 drops around my home. I actually mop my floors with 2 drops of tea tree with some hot water and a splash of vinegar, and they're much safer options than floor cleaners and that type of thing. So there are ways to use it, but just obviously we don't need to necessarily put it directly on the dog or get them to ingest it. But other oils, wintergreen, hot oils like oregano, I mean, we just don't really need to use them. So they would be my top don'ts.
Wow. So what? I've never heard of wintergreen. What is it?
Wintergreen is an essential oil that is used for muscle pain and relaxant. So often you might find it in rubs and things like that, like, muscle rubs. It is
Mhm.
in our ice blue rub that we have with doTERRA, but it's just it's the heating and the cooling effect that comes from it that we sort of don't really need to use. But there's other options that you can use instead of that.
And what was the third one? I didn't scribble it down quick enough.
Oregano
Yeah,
is
oregano, which I thought was really funny.
Yes, oregano, because, we do have it in our repertoire. There's some benefits to using oregano. So for people, great for warts removal, that type of thing, but we don't need to use it necessarily with our pets.
What effect does it have? Like because obviously we use it in cooking,
Mhm.
and other dogs are probably like pugs. Like my guys will snuffle any skerrick of anything that lands on the ground. What does it do? I'm really
Well,
intrigued.
oregano is actually I consider it to be nature's antibiotic. So it's the oil that you wanna get out if you as a person have a bug or an illness or something going on that you really want support to get rid of. So it's great in supporting any kind of skin conditions and that type of thing. So you can put it topically on your own skin. So again, like skin tags, warts, corns, that type of thing. It's just really good in helping support the skin to regenerate and to get back to its natural health.
Mm. So great for humans, but not for dogs.
Yeah, don't need to use it for dogs because 'cause we've got another oil that I'm gonna talk about, I'm pretty confident with 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 using.
So it's not that it's toxic, it's just better not to use it.
Yeah, it's
Does it
quite powerful, the oregano oil, because with doTERRA, it's literally plant in a bottle. So the oregano oil is really, really strong. So you only really need like a toothpick in the top of the bottle and you can swirl that around your dishes and you're gonna taste the flavor through the whole dish. If you put a whole drop or 2 drops, you're just gonna taste oregano. So it's really, really strong and powerful.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Because you did, and I'm glad you did bring up the part about there was that funky word that you did use about the essential oils being adulterated. That's right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it is one of those things where I will buy oils from various locations or they'll get given to me. And I always did wonder what's in them, because you don't ever see what the percentage of concentration of the ingredients
Exactly.
in the bottle is.
Exactly. And you don't actually even see them labeling what the bottle. So often you can get a 15 ml or a 10 ml bottle from, let's say, the chemist, and it might say 100% pure lavender or tea tree. But then when you actually look at the bottle, it might say 1 or 2% lavender or 1 or 2% tea tree, but it won't label what else is in that 10 or 15 ml bottle. So the scary thing is you don't know what you're actually putting on and around your body or on or around your pets. So it's super important to have something that you know is 100% pure, which I think goes for a lot of things. Like, it's the foods that we eat. It's reading labels. I can really stress the importance of reading labels for whatever you're buying. The world of labels, blows my mind once I started sort of exploring and doing that, to opening my eyes to what actually, I had been ingesting.
And it's funny you mention that because my pugs love licking you, and so
Mhm.
it's incredible the number of times where I've had to stop, especially my boy Kenji. That's his love language. He'll give you a big lick on your leg or something like that. And it's always like I'll put some moisturizing cream on my legs after I've had a shower, and he'll come in and start licking, and I'll be like, "No, puppy." And I'm just sort of like,
Mhm.
"I'm sure this is okay for me, but I'm not sure you should be ingesting moisturizing cream."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I have a rule. If I'm not willing to put it on my body, then I'm 100% not putting it on my pets or letting them lick it. So, that's kind of my rule of thumb. But in saying that too, it's in everything that we use. I mean, particularly as women, we have so many chemical laden products that we use, even just in the morning when we get up, our makeup, our moisturizers, our deodorants. So, I mean, I could talk for hours about that as well. So just, look at those things and consider the effect that they may have with your pet breathing them in. And also, going back to talking about mopping the floor, their little paws are walking on that wet floor, absorbing that into their paws and then licking their paws. So they're actually ingesting into their body whatever you put on your floor as well too. So just being aware.
and that's really interesting. The one of the rescues that obviously found their forever family yesterday, Wally, he was a great paw licker, but he was top and bottom. I've never had a pug. I've had plenty of pugs that lick the top of their paws as their little anxiety thing when they're just not happy with things.
Mhm.
But he was a paw pad, and I would put organic paw cream ointment on his pads
Mhm.
because I thought to myself, there's obviously something irritating his paw pads, whether it's, and to be honest, up until you just said that, I just thought to myself, there's got to be something out in the garden or it's just really cold at the moment. But now I'm wondering if it's the stuff that I mop the floors with.
Can be, and it also can be an internal thing. So also like the foods that we're feeding them, the nervous system needing support as well. So if they're unregulated, especially rescues, they've been through so
Mm.
much trauma and
Yes.
they may not show it necessarily because some rescues don't, but especially the ones that do, what we need to do is support them and their nervous system from the inside out. So frankincense is an oil I am going to talk about, and
Mm.
it is an incredible oil that has that ability to support the nervous system.
Well, let's jump straight into it. Let's talk about frankincense since we had a great segue into it.
Amazing, amazing. So, I mean, frankincense for me is, one of those oils that there's been extensive studies for its anti-tumoral, anti-cancer, antidepressant, anti-inflammatory properties. And, obviously, we can't say that it cures those things, and we have to be aware of, being compliant with what we say. But what we can say is that it's an antioxidant. It actually helps reduce free radicals that form in the body, and it also helps to decrease those free radicals in the cells of the body as well. So it fights the things that we don't want really in the body, is kind of an easy way to say it. So things like lumps and bumps, it's really great for those type of things, popping it, you can have a little bit on your finger with some carrier oil, just dabbing it onto a lump or a bump, bump, you can pop a drop in their pet's wet food and they can ingest it that way. There's a couple of really great ways to use it. But my favorite reason why frankincense is it's brilliant for the nervous system support. It's one of those oils that just calms the nervous systems. It's calming to the mind, it's calming to the body, and it's just really good overall support for pets.
Mm. Now, if somebody wanted to, if they had a pug that was that had separation anxiety, or like Kenji, he's on fluoxetine.
Mhm.
He'll be on it for the rest of his life. He had a really rough first few years before he was rescued. Could Kenji, for instance, have the frankincense in his food, but it not have a negative effect with his fluoxetine, or is this something that we need to go to the vet with?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the oils that I normally recommend have no effect on any other supplements or medication that pets may be on currently. It's literally just more of a proactive approach to whatever's going on with them. So you can add it additionally. And I just sort of say to people, make sure that we gradually do it slowly. We introduce the oils to them slowly. It's not like, you just go hell for
Dump the
leather
bottle and
and
go for
pop a
it.
bottle and go for it. That's not the way that we use them. But, doTERRA being absolutely 100% pure, a little goes a long way. So
Mm.
literally diffusing 2 drops in a water-based diffuser in the house, leaving a door open so the pet can leave the room if they've had enough. It's a brilliant way for them to breathe in and inhale the essential oil. But ear tipping is a brilliant way, just getting some on your fingers, massaging the very edges of their ears or the back of the neck, and sometimes even dropping a couple of drops, particularly you're talking about the rescue who was itching his, licking and scratching his
Mm.
feet. A great thing would be to pop him in a little low bath of warm water with a drop or 2 of frankincense and a drop or 2 of lavender, and just let that soak and massage it into and in between the paw pads. And then, just wash him as normal as you normally would, and then rinse him off, and that's gonna be able to be absorbed into the body really quickly.
No, I'll have to pass it on to his new pug mum,
Mhm.
and let them know, because it was always one of those things, like, he didn't have any other signs of being overly anxious. I'm like, this is obviously just there's something irritating you. We'll figure it out one way or the other. So that is a great way to at least alleviate some of that irritation if that's what it is. Or worst case scenario, just delete that as one of the possibilities of, because it may very well come down to he just likes licking his paws.
Well, that's it too, and it might be an emotional self-soothing type thing too with rescues that can be
Mm.
sometimes like a habit formed, in their
Yes.
experience. And, I think that's where like the combination of frankincense and lavender, because frankincense, you've got this beautiful nervous system support, and lavender comes in with its emotional support, but also incredibly beautiful for any kind of skin itchiness or irritation. So, those 2 oils combined together are gonna be, perfect for that kind of thing.
Mm. And I do like your idea about having the frankincense in a diffuser, because we do at some point in time we'll get another couple of fosters,
Mhm.
and we do as much as we can to make that transition from generally they get surrendered to our headquarters, and then our president will allocate to the best foster carer based on sort of what their issues are versus what the foster carer specialises in.
Mm.
And it's one of the things where I've thought to myself, as much as we do a lot of things to make sure they're comfortable, I have thought to myself, oh, maybe I need to, like, I know you can buy the pheromone that
Mhm, yeah. Mhm,
is associated with their mother from
mhm,
birth.
mhm,
But then we've also done other research where if they were sort of from a puppy farm or from a backyard breeder where they will associate stress with that smell,
mhm.
that actually doesn't help the transition into the
Right.
new house. And so I'm like, "Well, then what do we do?" So the frankincense is actually quite an innovative way that at least it's calming, it still achieves the aim, but hopefully it doesn't have a negative emotional response,
Yeah,
trigger for
absolutely.
them.
Yeah, I think too, when I think about the man-made products that you plug in and that type of thing, like obviously again, what actually are we diffusing? Do I actually really know all of what's in that? And so again, I mean, nature has all the answers literally, I think in its own. And so being able to use something that we know can be ingested. So if they lick it, if they breathe it in, the fact that you can use some of these oils in cooking means that you can safely know that you're not adding to an issue or creating another issue. You're actually supporting them through whatever's going on. There's another incredible calming oil that doTERRA have called the Balance Blend, which is a blend of a lot of the tree oils, and it's really great at helping the cells of the body just to relax, and so has this beautiful grounding and calming effect and soothing. So, the Balance Blend, lavender, frankincense, they would be my top oils to be diffusing when you're bringing a new puppy home. And again, 1 drop of each or, 1 drop of just one is plenty in a diffuser just to slowly starting introducing them, and it's gonna have that positive impact.
Mm, it's awesome. I'm scribbling notes as
Yeah.
we're going along. I know what's worse is I can listen to this afterwards, but I just know that if I don't write it down right now, I will definitely forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've talked about frankincense, lavender, and the balance blend.
Mhm.
The couple of others that because I've got all the notes from having done all the research. And I didn't know how to say this. The copabi,
Copaiba. Yep, copaiba or
oh,
copaiba. Either of
copabi.
those 2 you can call it. Now, that is actually another one that I did have on my list that I did wanna mention because
Mm.
it is really great. It's similar to it's in comparison to the cannabis oil, but
Oh yes.
without the THC. So it's a safe option. It's really great for any kind of muscle, joint, and pain, very soothing, calming. It's another one that we can ingest. So us as humans, you can have a couple of drops under the tongue, same with frankincense for that matter, 2 drops under the tongue every day. But for your pets, you can what would be ideal, particularly because pugs often have, issues with muscles and joints and dysplasia, hip issues, that type
Yep.
of thing. I would be doing a drop in their food every day. So you could do a drop of frankincense, a drop of copaiba in their wet food every day as a preventative and as a support for their muscles, their joints, and just overall well-being, calming, and that type of thing.
Amazing. And then what was the other one I had here? Cedarwood. This actually I was surprised because I went, oh, I always just thought of that as like a what is it like? The smelly sticks because I can't think of what they're called
Yeah.
off the top
Or
of my head.
or something that you put in your wardrobe to stop the moths coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, it
isn't
is actually a
interesting?
safe and effective oil to use as a pest control, which is funny enough. So all you would
Mm,
do is mix a drop with some carrier oil, and you can apply it just topically just by petting it through the fur. You can
mm.
do the ear tipping, which is the edges of the ears, or you can actually massage it in between the paw pads is another great place, or just diffuse it as a natural insect repellent. So much safer for us and definitely safer for the pets.
That's incredible. And I have to, because you've mentioned it a couple of times. So there were a couple of different ways that we can introduce the oil to the pet. Diffusing, I think everybody knows. Petting, I'd never thought of, to be honest,
Mhm.
before. And pugs love being petted. So
Mhm.
that to them would just be like the added bonus.
Yeah.
But ear tipping, that's
Interesting. Yeah.
how?
So
'Cause
it
a pug's ears are floppy too, so
yeah,
but they're
yeah,
like velvet, so
absolutely. But, I don't know anyone who doesn't love, like, grabbing their little dog's ears and rubbing the ends of them and
yeah.
just, that feel that we get. So it's a really great bonding experience for us and them as well. But it's just the ears, they're not a place that they can lick at. They're also
Oh, I agree.
very thin, so obviously getting through the blood brain barriers really quickly through the ears, and so massaging, putting a drop with some carrier oil on your fingertips and just massaging it, literally just massaging it into the ends of the ears. You don't need to go in the ears, it's just the edges and around the ears, and can be really soothing, and even just towards, like, down the bottom of the ears and just massaging. And, I've got this vision of me just with I've got whippets at the moment, and so, I mean, the love that I feel when I do that with them, not only they're gonna feel that support and love and that energy, they're gonna get the benefit of the smell of the oil and the therapeutic benefit of it entering through their skin and into their body. It's a very quick process. I think it's something like within 2 minutes, it's having an effect on the cells of the body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, Rosie probably not so much, but Kenji is definitely he loves having his ears sort of fondled.
Mhm.
It's so much so that you know it because he literally dives his head into your hand. He's just like he is telling you, "I am digging this shit."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Keep going, don't stop.
And so I thought to myself, well, if I have to do it every night anyway, why would I not do some ear tipping on top of it?
Absolutely, and you're gonna get the benefits too because you're gonna be breathing in,
Oh, yeah.
whatever oil that you're using, so yeah, it's perfect combination.
And so I'm assuming the same thing with paw pad, the massaging of their paw pads. Like it's
Yeah,
funny, pugs can be a little bit iffy about you touching their feet. So
yeah. Yeah, so with the paw pads, what we do is in between the paw pads rather than actually on the paw pads.
Mhm.
So that's a really good place, again, because it's very thin skin and there's not a lot of hair in that spot. And it's a great place also because it's often where they get sort of itchy and scratchy. And so those oils are going to also help that as well.
Mm. No, that's great. I have to admit, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking to myself, what am I putting on my floors that possibly annoying Wally?
Yeah, I know. It's I like the saying, "Once you know, you can't
I
unknow."
know. Can't
It's a rabbit
can't
hole.
undo it ever.
Yeah, yeah, but it's I think the thing is overall health and longevity is what we want, not just for ourselves, but especially for our pets, and,
Mm.
there's a lot of things that can be limited or reduced, by being aware of what we're doing, and, I remember, the times that I used to be in my shower or I'd clean my shower with something and I would have my hand over my face because I couldn't breathe in. And
Mm.
and just the thought of that now, I'm thinking, "What the hell was I even thinking that that was okay? If I can't breathe while I'm cleaning my shower with this stuff, what am I doing that I'm gonna get in there, the steam's gonna heat it back up, and I'm gonna be breathing it in even more." So it kind of just yeah, it's once you kinda start exploring that type of thing, it makes you wonder, it makes you think differently for a lot of beneficial ways.
Mm. So are there any oils that we haven't covered yet, which would be great for just general pug well-being?
100%. So obviously we know pugs being a short muzzled breed and I used to show boxers when I was younger, so I'm very aware of this,
Ah.
the breathing in and the breathing difficulties that they can have so that they're prone to an illness called I think it's called the brachiocephalic. So it's BOAS. It's an
Oh,
obstruction
yes,
in the
the
airway.
brachycephalic airways
That's it.
brachycephalic
Yeah.
airways.
Say that 5 times.
I know.
So Boxers, French bulldogs, Boston Terriers, all of
Yeah.
those short-nosed dogs, it's an issue and it can get worse over the lifespan, obviously, of the dog. Particularly a scary thing, I've seen it happen when it's been hot and that excessive
Yeah.
panting and you get into a panic yourself and you feel like you can't really do anything.
Mhm.
We've got a blend called Easy Air. Now,
Mm.
Easy Air is already pre-diluted. It's a blend of essential oils that include laurel leaf, eucalyptus, marjoram, peppermint, and a couple of other oils. But it's actually really safe to diffuse around your pets.
Mm.
What it does is it actually helps to clear the airways and open up the breathing. So clearer breathing is the result.
Yeah.
And so using a water-based diffuser, you could do, 3 to 4 drops in a large area. I'd probably stick to, 2 to 3 drops in a bedroom space. And again, just leave the door open so if the dog chooses to leave the room, they can. Um,
Mm.
and you can have that diffusing, particularly on hot days or when days when you notice your dog is having more trouble breathing.
Yeah.
Really good one overnight to have your diffuser on an intermittent setting and just have that going. It goes on for 5 minutes, off for 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
gonna help anyone in the room too if they're having issues breathing or snoring. So that's another kind of thing with, I know my boxer used to snore quite terribly. But also, if they're, an older dog and they're having really serious issues with breathing, you can actually just crack the lid a little bit because, dogs have over 250,000 no like receptors compared to us humans. Like their ability to smell is beyond
Super.
the imagination, right?
Mm.
So you only need to crack the lid a little bit and just offer it to them and then take it away. So if you imagine like you're offering someone a biscuit and then you're taking it off them again, that's kind of the idea of what you want to look at what you want it to look like. So you
Mhm.
kinda just offer and then take it away, offer again, and then take it away, and that can be enough to, A, help them, open up their airways and clear their breathing a little bit more to give you more time to get to the vet if that's where you need to go. And in
Mhm.
some cases, it can actually be enough to help them back into that calm and that breathing properly.
Mm.
I kind of say to people, "Well, just watch, do it a couple of times, like give it to them, offer them twice, watch them for 5, 10, 15 minutes. If there's no difference, you can do it again." And it's just a great one for supporting that clear breathing and as I said, giving you a bit more time and giving you something that you can do to help them as well.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Like, sort of one of my pugs who's now passed,
Mhm.
had surgery and then got pneumonia. It's one of those unfortunate things. He had a lot of complications from his surgery, which pneumonia was just one of them. But
Mhm.
there are times when we sort of sit and think, what else could we have done to have made that
Yeah.
post-op care better so that we could have further reduced the likelihood of him getting pneumonia? He actually had an antibiotic resistant bacteria in his system that which we weren't aware of, which was
Mhm.
how that all sort of happened. But as we all know, like when you have the BOAS surgery, there is that period afterwards where your vet or your specialist does say, this is the period where they are more likely to get pneumonia at any other point in time in their life. And if they get it once, then they have that potential of then getting it again at some time further on.
Yeah.
Having something like this sounds like that would at least help with that recovery process.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would also even suggest in that sort of situation is looking at introducing oils that support the immune system and, protect against those potential invaders that are not helping the dog recover. So oils like we have a kids range of oils that are already pre-diluted in a rollerball, and there's one called the Stronger Touch, which is brilliant for that immune support and immune boosting. So things like fighting off your illnesses, it's a great one to use already diluted. So there's answers, to be honest, like the oils, the uses are only limited to your knowledge of how to use them and what to
Mhm.
use. So the
Yeah.
brilliant thing is you've literally got something for everything that you can then feel empowered. And I think that's a big thing, feeling empowered as a pet owner to be able to do something when you feel so helpless.
Mhm. No, I agree. I've had, unfortunately, plenty of those times over the years with the number of pugs that I've owned or fostered, where you're just sitting there going, I don't know what else I can do for you."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
and it's
hard.
incredibly frustrating because, yeah, they can only communicate within their own capabilities, and then the rest of it's left up to us to interpret.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So we were talking before this as well. So you actually do have an offer for our listeners, which I think is great because we've talked about a couple of things about my pug specifically, and you've spoken about their away, the sort of oils as examples of what could help Kenji, for instance. But you're actually offering that for our listeners as well.
Yeah, so for the last 2 and a bit years, I've become more proactive about sharing the information with people and educating people. So I travel around to a lot of the dog lover shows. So if people are around in Sydney, I'm there. Melbourne, at any of those sort of events, you can come along and speak to me there. But the offer that I've got is some of the oils that we've talked about, my main oils at the wholesale prices. But not only that, you actually will get a free consultation with me where we actually jump on a Zoom and we talk about your specific pets, what's going on with them, and ways that you can support them using the oils. And also you get that ongoing support and education and access to me, as much as you want to listen to me, rabbit on. And if you've had enough of me, you're more than welcome to tell me to be quiet.
No, it's great because obviously, as I said, like I like essential oils. I like the smell. I think it makes the home so much nicer to be in. But similarly, you don't know what you don't know. And there is always that worry. Am I doing the right thing? Am I poisoning my pug as opposed to making the home a lot nicer for them?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so having someone that you can be in contact with and say, this is going on, and you're like, that's why.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And on that, when I think about things like, candles or, candles for me, I worry about burning my house down or, because I forget to turn them off. And, the diffusers are water-based diffusers. They're not hot. It's just misting coming out. If they knock it over, they knock it over. You're not going to burn the house down. You're using a product that you know is safe for you and also your pets. So, it's really a no-brainer, and the benefits they have for the pets, they're also the same for the humans as well too. So, I will be anyone who jumps on and grabs that offer, they can also get access to a little pamphlet that I have with uses of the oils as well. So, yeah, it's a good offer. It's a great offer.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for putting it forward, because it's using essential oils blindly sometimes can actually be worse than not using them at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So we wanna make sure people are using them confidently and safely and loving using them. That's the big thing for me is being excited about using them. It becomes fun.
Yes, I definitely would be checking them out in a lot more depth. I was checking them out before the interview, and I thought
Uh-huh.
definitely, I was thinking about the frankincense. That was
Amazing.
the one that was in the back of my mind, hence the reason a fair few more questions. So probably my last thing is how do we find you? Other than the stuff that I put in the podcast notes, where can people find you if they want to engage with you more frequently?
Yeah. Yeah, so I do quite a lot. I'm starting to do more and more on Instagram. So that is at the Essential Awareness Co. So CO on the end. I've got quite a few videos there of me showing how to use and introduce the oil, so offering self-selection with my pets, so cats and the dogs and the horses. Facebook, it's Libby, the Essential Awareness. My website's being revamped at the moment, so, you can contact me via email or telephone or Instagram or Facebook, and, as I mentioned, I'm often at all of the dog lover expos are the main ones that I do Australia-wide, so come and see me. Come and say you heard me here.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I will be at the Dog Lovers Show with Pug Rescue at the end of the year. So hopefully, if I can get away long enough from pug hugs and kissing duties, I'll be able to catch up with you in
Jealous.
person again.
I'll have to
But
come over and have some myself.
yeah, yeah, by all means, come over. Well, unfortunately, we have plenty of rescue puggies helping raise money so that we can find them their forever homes. But your website does have a link for you, also for our listeners to put in their email so they can get newsletter notification, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Libby. It has been, what's the word? Enlightening. Like, sort of, as I said, so many questions. And the podcast is as much about me learning new things as it is sharing it with our listeners. So I really do appreciate it. It's been very good. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It has. It's been fun, and yeah, I'm wrapped. I'm grateful that you asked. Thank you so much.
Great. We'll see you at the Dog Lover Show.
You will. See you there.
I hope you learned as much as I did, Puggies, and I wouldn't blame you if you ended up listening to the episode twice because there were so many gems in it. I can report that since we had our conversation with Libby, I purchased the Balance Blend and the frankincense and coconut oil to try with Rosie and Kenji. Rosie loves the Balance Blend being petted into her coat while she snoozes on my lap on the couch at night. And Kenji is not sure about any of the oils when they're on my hands, which means no ear tipping or petting for him at the moment. However, he is okay with both the Balance Blend and the frankincense in the diffuser at any time of the day. I'm not sure why he doesn't like the oils when they're on my hands. However, I may just need to dilute them a little more than the recommended dosage and see how he goes. It's a process. The big plus for me is the peace of mind knowing that the oils that I am using are 100% puggy friendly, and they not only make Rosie and Kenji's pug life better, but mine as well, which is a big bonus as a pug parent. So, like me, did you learn something new today? Have you tried using essential oils to help your puggy, and how did it go? I'd love to chat about it with you over in our Facebook group, Living the Pug Life. And if you liked the episode or you think someone else might enjoy it, please share it and leave a review with your favourite podcast host so more pug parents can find us and join in with the fun. It only takes a couple of minutes to give us a 5-star review, and it goes a long way to helping other pug parents find us. So until next time, thank you for joining us. Have a pawsome week, and humans, be generous with the snackies.